and in today's video we will build an editing PC with this broken Ryzen 9.
A week or so after building my first dedicated editing PC, I put it on a local marketplace for a rather high price and I sold that PC almost instantly. Since then, I was on the lookout for a new editing rig, and when I saw this deal, I couldn't resist. Only 200 euros. So, what's the catch? Well, I found it on a used local marketplace with a claimed defect. Support for only single channel memory because the CPU was dropped in the past. I immediately contacted the seller and got it shipped over to me the next day. Welcome to the 4K editing build V2. Yeah. With a higher budget to spare, I will try to build a properly good system that can cope with anything. I'm pretty sure it might handle high-end editing and some gaming. And now let's go over a quick specs overview. So as for the motherboard, I bought this RMA refurbished ASRock B450M HDV for 50 euros. Nothing too special about it. To cool this 12-core bad boy, I chose the best price to performance cooler, Deepcool Gamax 400 for 18 euros new. For storage, I chose a used Micron M500 480GB SSD for 40 euros and a 2TB Seagate hard drive which was left from my previous build. I paid 25 euros for it a while back. As for the RAM, I bought this brand new stick of 32GB Team Group Vulcan Z 3200MHz RAM for 116 euros new. The good old iBox Cube Max 700W for 32 euros new. And on my last editing PC, I made a huge mistake with that super small crammed up case. So this time I bought this brand new AeroCool Rift mid-tower case for 35 euros, which should be big enough for the build. My GPU of choice, or should I say I picked up whatever was left on the market, was this used KFA2 RTX 2060, which came in at a whopping 280 euro price because of that current mining situation going on, to cope with the newest releases in gaming. And the aforementioned CPU, Ryzen 9 3900. And as far as my understanding goes, the CPU only came in pre-built PCs, so you don't see them too often. It sort of is a more power efficient version of the 3900X, but apparently it has identical performance after minor overclocking. The only thing is, I really don't know how that's going to work out because of that single channel RAM. And since we have all of these parts on the table, let's start building, shall we? Brings us together, tasting only pleasure like islands in the golden sun. Colombian lady, wanna take the money and time. It's driving me crazy, I need you so much, so fine. Colombian lady, wanna take the money and time. It's driving me crazy, I need you so much, so fine. Colombian baby, I'm never, never, never gonna let you go. And now, the moment of truth. Will it work? And after a couple of stressful restarts, the PC booted, unlike my neighbor's 1.9 DDI. So now the question stands, does this PC actually run well? Because as you may know, single channel RAM and Ryzen goes as well as pineapples and pizza. Usually they don't. I decided to start the benchmarks in Cinebench R23. On single core test, I received 1288 points, which is not bad considering that Ryzen 9 3900X normally gets a little bit more than 1300 points. Moving on to the multi-core performance. Our Linux-tuned Ryzen 9 received not that staggering score of 12,000 points. For reference, the 3900X usually gets around 17,000 points. Yeah, Next up, I tried my luck with userbenchmark.com, and the Ryzen 9 performed right at this CPU's 47th percentile, which puts it right in the middle in terms of performance between the same processors, which is actually quite good considering, again, it only has one stick of RAM and zero overclocking. Later, I repeated the test again and it performed even better at 56th percentile. And after these great results, I fired up Premiere Pro to test its 4K capabilities, and surprise surprise, no lag at all. Or, well, kind of. There still is some weird stuttering, but I highly doubt that it is because of that CPU's incapability. I think it has something to do with the application not being optimized properly for high core counts or something like that. And lastly, what was left was to take a quick dip into the gaming world with CSGO. It received an average of 337.9 FPS on the highest possible settings 1080p, and on the lowest, hold up, 452.1 FPS. Definitely not bad for a purpose-built editing PC. So what did we learn from this? The fact that 12 core and 24 thread CPU is still amazing even with a single stick of RAM? Probably. Subscribe to get great deals. And don't forget to stay cheap, my dudes. Cheap bastard out.
Yo, Andrew, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.